It's the road to Mullingar tonight, so it is. And whether that road for you is in miles or kilometres, we're going to find out more about what it's about. It's a lovely concept. It's something that's very personal to the organisers. And here in County Derry, we're going to celebrate that road to Mullingar. We're going to hear about all the people on the road. And we may not travel in real time, but we will get there. And Brendan Molloy, I'm very thankful for, first of all, your time and effort and work that you put into making this happen, thinking of all the people that do the behind-the-scenes work and the real work. So, Brendan, welcome, first of all, to the couch.
Thank you.
And the road to Mullingar, we're in Studio 2. It's a wonderful setting here, wonderful Ceoltas activity. What's it all about?
Well, Studio 2 here is a home of Ballinagalla, but the road to Mullingar was a concept that we as a branch, when we were decided we were going to do something and try and get the music and culture out there, we felt very, very great sympathy with Mullingar. I mean, you couldn't have made it up. And I'm sure every Ceoltas member must feel it for the people of Mullingar. And yourself, Martin. You organised 3 fantastic All-Ireland Fleadhs in Cavan. You know the work, the time, the money, and the stress that's involved in bringing any Fleadh to a town. And Mullingar was celebrating their 50 years of the flag and back and returning home. They had everything up and running, their FEC and all the people ready, the town waiting and the county waiting for the influx of music, song, dance, and the hundreds of thousands of people, the TV, the media, and people from across the world. And what happens? COVID. As I said earlier, you couldn't have made it up. So we felt that we would put on a show. If Mullingar couldn't get a show in Mullingar, people couldn't go to Mullingar, we would bring people from Mullingar here and put on the show. And twice we tried to film musicians, very, very famous musicians from Mullingar and their county town of Westmeath to come and play music, and it was to be, as you says so eloquently, be broadcast all over the world and the World Wide Web. Unfortunately, the times were arranged, COVID restrictions come in, and we had to go with safety first, which is a priority. And what Mullingar had to go with, and Ceoltas is an organisation, and many other people in the world we live in today, but they made the decision for the right cause, safety first. So this was like to give not only Ceoltas members a lift, but the people of Mullingar, and maybe in the future let the Ceoltas membership throughout the world, North America, Australia, Europe, and throughout the country, see what they had to look forward to when Mullingar could host a Fleadh, an All-Ireland Fleadh again.
It's a wonderful idea. It's a living idea because you've made it happen. You've made it happen with musicians, singers and dancers this weekend. And this concert, which is going to follow this wonderful introduction by yourself, Brendan, because I know there's a Mullingar connection in your life. Your daughter was born there. Your wife's from County Westmeath. And your family are steeped in that whole tradition up there, and it's a Leinster province, but there's a fierce affinity with Ulster, and we were so sad for Joe and that committee and the pressures of organising and planning, and then to see it like you did in 2013 happen. It didn't happen, but please God, we will make that journey to Mullingar. I'm sure your heart jumped a beat when you heard the story for 2021 that it'll be a virtual and a Fleadh that won't happen on the ground.
Yeah, but again, Martin, I think I'd like to think of myself as a pragmatist. And again, we have to go safety first. It is not ideal, but I must say I was delighted that something at least is going to happen virtually than nothing. And we look forward to seeing different musicians from wherever it's hosted from, but there's nothing that beats personal connections and meeting the people and hearing the tunes and bumping against instruments and chairs and trying to get in and sit down and do sessions. And we will do it again, and we'll do it when it's safe. And please God, when the Fleadh does come back, it will go to Mullingar, Joe and all the committee in Mullingar, the townspeople of Mullingar that are so deserving, have invested so much time, energy, money and commitment. And I think it'll be great to see, and I can't wait to see the day, please God, when it's safe to do it. I'm sure I will meet you there, please God.
Well, Mullingar have a lot to look forward to. All Ireland's, 3 of them in Cavan, 2013 in Derry. It changed the landscape for our county. It changed the amount of, as Jack Keys, the Cairlock of the Fleadh at the time, said, it was an explosion of interest. And I'm sure Derry has the same. Your county celebrated Derry, and it's living tradition here today with your own new branch. But Mullingar will look forward to that, and they will come. So book your accommodation. Make sure you look forward to these musicians you're going to watch tonight, the songs you're going to hear over the broadcast. It's all done by technical people, so virtual Fleadhs are still a good way to appreciate the talents, the music, the song, the dance, and the language of genuinely honest people. And that's what our Ceoltas does.
And that's it. And when we ask people about this show and we discuss this show, and unfortunately the Westmeath people and the Mullingar people couldn't come up. I mean, you'll see in the interviews and the music, we have people that have great Fleadh experiences, and they will tell you about those experiences, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of new experiences in Mullingar when it comes.
Well, for all the mammies and daddies that were hoping maybe to see an All-Ireland medal or a presentation to a branch, a Ceilidh band, a group of Cheoil, you'll hear stories from All-Ireland winners at this event on the road to Mullingar. You'll hear about teachers at the Scoil Éigse, and you'll also hear about the future. And that's all we're planning for. Keep practicing, Brendan, and keep listening. I'm sure that's the advice you'd send out to everybody involved.
And that's it. And what I finish up with is say, stay safe, and thank you very much, Martin.
Céan dó.
Well, on every road we have a walk, and we might march. And one of the great instruments in our tradition to drive you on is the flute, the Fleadh Mhór. And we are on the road to Mullingar. We're in the wonderful Setna Studio 2. We have a beautiful team here. It's wonderful Fleadh Dhoire 2020. And the branch of Ceoltas here are active. The Ballinaccara, they're wonderful friends of County Derry, they're wonderful friends of Ulster. But the trip to Mullingar is very important for these performers because they are travellers of the tradition. Marcas Ó'Murchú, welcome. I know we're going to hear your music, but you have spent your time in Ulster. You're a proud Ulsterman. You've recorded, you've documented, you've archived. You're a broadcaster. You've recorded albums for Mullingar'Concert. But you're now settled in Derry City. Tell us where you are.
I'm in Culmore, about 2 or 3 townlands away from where we are now, Martin, and I've been in county. I came to university here back in the 70s, and I've been living in the county between here and Belfast before that, but back and forward. But been here over 30 years now in total.
And I found you in action here with this Ceoltas branch. Your daughter's singing, your son's playing the bowron, your wife's probably dancing. So you have a family tradition. So Ceoltas is important in your life very much. You're retired, you forgot to tell us as well. You're a retired man now.
Retired this year and playing music now. So I was actually, and with the COVID, I was in Buenos Aires in Argentina when it all happened. And if it wasn't for my good wife, I never would have got back at all. But we're back, and it's great to have music in the town here. And if it weren't for Ceoltas, I wouldn't have had all the opportunities that I have had through the Fleadh Cheoil and through meeting so many good people.
And I know you made a point downstairs. I overheard you. I was listening with my big calving ears. You said that when you come here to Studio 2, you feel you're at something. You're alive.
I feel very much at home here. The staff here are very relaxed, and they always have a feed. I'm not a drinker, I'm not a smoker, so they'll give you a feed of stew or spuds and things, and I like that, as you could tell.
Well, but there's a welcome.
great welcome. They're very well organised. It's a place where I can come in and feel relaxed and play. It's a place where you feel respected, a place where you feel the staff is very professional. I've gone on really well with them. They've all become family friends, you know, and they've been with my son Cormac and Rasha, that you'll be hearing singing later on. It's been great for them, you know. It's been absolutely fantastic.
You taught for years, you're still teaching, but of course you've had one or two exceptional students, and we have one of them on the couch beside us. Tell us about this student. Do you remember our first lessons?
Oh, I do indeed. Her father was is now chairman of the branch, Brendan Molloy, and Siobhán Molloy came to me, as did many others, as you say, and you know, the Kieran Carlins of Conla, and very, very lucky that they all were interested, you know, because you could see an interest in these people, you know, young children, as 12 years of age, whatever they are. And actually Siobhán that you mentioned, Siobhán actually helped my daughter on the whistle as well too, and took her for classes. So it's
circles going
Rocha
round.
Mhór Dhoire.
Makes you feel good.
It does, absolutely. I always feel
Looking
good
forward
anyway,
to
but
hearing
it's
your
just-
music. Marcas Ó'Murchú, a legend from Belfast, County Antrim, now up here in beautiful Derry. Hello, Siobhán Molloy.
Hello, Martin.
Great to have on the couch and talking a few words. I know time is against us. You've been very active putting all this together. I know that COVID didn't stop you or your branch teaching music, passing on the music. You won the All-Irelands. You can sing, I know, you can dance, you can play, but you're passing it on with a passion. Why is that?
To be honest, because that's what I've learned from people like Marcas, like Kieran Carlin and Cyril Maguire, who would have taught me years ago, and my own father, of course, as well. I think the tradition itself is about passing it through the generations, keeping it alive, keeping our beautiful culture, all the music, song, dance and language alive for generations to come and for years to come. It's an important part of our social identity. It's an important part of, you know, cultural cohesion. And I just think that to see a young person, you know, progress and become nurtured and become really interested and thrive on playing an instrument or singing a song or dancing a dance, like, that's a really beautiful thing. So I would say that, yeah, it's something, you know, that was given to me as a gift, and I want to give it to other people as a gift as well.
And how important was those early years of the Fleadhs, and of course winning the All-Ireland? Did it stay with you, Siobhán?
Yeah, like the Fleadhs are so important. I mean, it's where you make the best of friends, you have the best of crack. You're playing sessions till all hours of the night. And for me, I went to the summer schools every year as well, Scolegse, and sure, that was a laugh and a half in itself, between learning the tunes and getting up to all sorts of carry on. Like, but I mean, the Fleadhs are really, you know, the focal point, the epicenter of the traditional Irish cultural celebration. I always sort of said, when we had it in Derry in 2013, when I was trying to explain the magnitude of the event to people who didn't know about cultus, I would have said, this is like the Olympics of trad. This is where the crème de la crème come to compete. Yes, but also, you know, to be together. You see people from America, from England, from, you know, all parts of the country that you mightn't see, you know, until it comes to Fleadh season. And that's why as well, I think we wanted to pay tribute to Mullingar in our programme at Fleadh Dhoire, because it's a really you know, it's a really hard time for everyone, but especially those guys who put so much work in to hosting Fleadh Cheoil na hÉireann this year and next year, to have, you know, that kind of bitter letdown. So we want to tell our friends in Mullingar that we're here to support you when your day comes. And I'm biased in saying that because I'm actually a Mullingar woman.
Well, I know, Siobhán, that's wonderful words from the heart. I know you make the point, as our Stuart O'Lowers Ó'Murchú, the Cultus family, you're very important into that. I know you got the flute, and I know Marcas Ó'Murchú has the flute. He taught you, you're passing it on to his daughter, you're sharing the music. You have a set of tunes for us. Where are they from, Marcas?
Well, the importance of cultus in my life, in 1983 I was in America and met a man who invited Josie McDermott over to Philadelphia, and he composed a tune, the Baltimore Salute, that was composed by Josie, through a conversation I had on a cultus tour back in the 80s. And the second one was Patsy Hanley and Tom Hart used to go over with Josie over to Birmingham, so it's the trip to Birmingham. Josie would compose these for the likes of the families, you know, the emigrant families who had lived there, like the Cullens and that sort of thing. So these are two of Josie's compositions which have kept me going for years at the Fleadh Cheoil as the Fleadh Cheoil is it's fantastic.
And this will lift the heart of the people in Mullingar watching. The organisers, as Siobhán said, this is for you out there listening at home. Enjoy it. Two great Fleadh Mhór, master traditionalists from the real tradition. Well, it's the road to Mullingar here on a celebration of Irishness, of music, of song, of dance, of our culture, of who we are, and on the journey. And it's a Calvin man here, Martin Donohoe, glad to share some time in these strange times, sharing songs and music, and of course a few stories about the Fleadh. And this is a wonderful setting here. We're in Derry, beautiful Derry, on the banks of the Foyle. And Fleadh Dhoire 2020, celebrated in concert, on the web, socially distant, and of course for you at home. So please share and watch and enjoy. Follow us on Facebook. And it's organised in a beautiful setting here of Studio 2. Thanks to Ollie Green and the team, they've made us very welcome, and we've really enjoyed the stay. And it's not over yet, because we're going to talk to some friends, but it's organised under the auspices here of Bala Nagala, a wonderful Celtic branch who are making wonderful movement in bringing people together in this city. And we have some united front here on this side of the couch, socially distant. We're going to the Banner, all the way to County Clare, and we're going all the way to Derry City as well.
Absolutely.
So I welcome Brian and I welcome Josie. We have music on the pipes and on the fiddle. These are educationists. They're people that share the music, that teach the music. And more importantly, for the event we're talking about, the Road to Mullingar, they're All-Ireland champions in the past. I don't know if they're going to compete now this year or next year, because we don't know what flags are happening, but it's great to have you. First of all, Josie Nugent, what part of Clare?
I'm from just outside Ennis. Okay, hello. Yes, I'm from just outside Ennis. A place called Bearfield, County Clare, very close to where Jack Mulcair lived. He was a neighbour and a great music friend and teacher.
And of course, when we say Clare, it is the home of Irish music for so many. I'm a Cavan man, but I look to Clare all the time for influence and inspiration. Those legends of men and women from Mrs. Crotty down to the Willie Clancy's. And of course, you're carrying that tradition on. You're teaching it, you're playing it, Josie. But in the past, you competed at the Fleadh.
I did, and I was very lucky that first time I got placed in Dáil Ireland, it was in Ennis, back in 1977.
Oh, it's only a few years ago.
It's only a few years ago, yes, I would say that. Jet Club in Ennis, I got second in the fiddle under 14, and I was like over the moon, to be honest. And from that, then I suppose I played a lot with my sister, and we won a Group Cheoil in Dáil Ireland Fleadh in Buncrana a few years later, and that was a big achievement for us as, young teenagers growing up through the scene. So it was, and then, as you know, I moved over to England, and I did a lot of work with Coltis, with the Cambridge branch, and we had a lot of, a lot of our own successes there, and they came and played in Dáil Ireland Fleadh as well.
And of course, that music that you heard when you went to Buncrana or around Clare as a teenager, that certainly must have encouraged you to keep practicing and playing. We're trying to say to people watching tonight that the music out there, even in COVID times, you can still listen. There's so much available on the web. There's so much available in there in the manuscripts. But it's what goes into your ear, isn't it, Josie? It stays with you.
It absolutely stays with me. I was very lucky as a child to visit a lot of these great musicians, as you spoke about, like Peter Loughlin, Paddy Murphy, Jack Mulcair, who lived over the road, and to meet these people and actually play with them. So that stays with you forever.
And of course, yourself, you mentioned your sister Mary. You've recorded an album together.
We have, yes, Hills and Hollows, yeah.
Well, I know you're doing work, and we'll talk about that before we finish, on the work with the dementia side of music for Ceoltas and a new assignment that Ceoltas in Britain have put together at the moment. But you're in a pod at the moment here with a young man all the way from Derry. Tell us, where did this man from Derry come from? Brian Stafford, welcome to the Fleadh Dhoire 2020.
Well, I'd got interested in Irish music in my teens, sort of early to mid-teens, and I'd always kind of liked the sound of bagpipes and that, so when I heard uilleann pipes for the first time, that was it. I was determined this is what I'm going to play.
And when you say you heard them for the first time, was this in Derry you heard them for the first time, or was it were you travelling? Can you remember back to when that was?
The first time I heard uilleann pipes played, it was Finbar Fury playing them on record breakers on BBC Children's TV with Roy Castle.
I remember it.
Way back. Well, I mean, Roy Castle obviously was a brilliant musician, and that was, I suppose, part of what engaged me with music and that. And then when I saw Finbar Fury playing pipes, I thought, this is fantastic, right? That's what I'm going to do. And then it actually took me about 2 years to discover that Finbar McLaughlin, the pipe maker in Derry, he was literally living about 200 yards down the same street from me. So
the rest is history.
The rest is history, yes.
And of course, you learned your music, you practiced. The pipes at that time,
Absolutely.
of course, were special.
Pipes and tin whistle. Yeah.
And you won an All-Ireland as well in the middle of that. Tell us about that.
Well,
the road to Mullingar.
Where
was your All-Ireland one?
Well, my first Fleadh was actually in Ennis, and then the next year I went down to Listowel. I'd got the Scollagshire scholarship, so I went down for the week, and it was Donna Dowd was teaching piping and reed making there, and Gay McEwen was the other tutor. So I actually ended up, I was in the same class as Davy Spillane and people like that, who I think he's only a year older than me. So, we were all pretty young and enthusiastic at the time, but seeing people like Dan O'Dowd playing slow airs on the pipes, I mean, it was just absolutely
so again, it
amazing.
touched in here.
Yeah, and then that weekend I competed, and I got first in the under 18, and as it happens, I beat Josie's cousin.
They're watching tonight, so they are. They'll never forgive you. But down and you took the medal from the banner. How important is it at the moment? A branch here, this wonderful branch. You're members of it, part of it. I've met you on other visits up here.
Well, I mean, it's phenomenally important, because I think no matter how enthusiastic you are about something, you actually need peer contact, and you need the contact with people who can mentor you and so forth. So that kind of influence, being able to listen to people and aspire to achieving what they've achieved, that's just fundamentally important, I feel.
And Josie, I think the branch here is very active, both with young people and older people. There's the sessions for everybody. There's an openness here, and of course you're part of that. You're encouraging it. How do you find at the moment the hunger in the area, since coming from Clare in Derry City?
I think it's growing over time, really, and I think as more younger children get involved in it, they'll, discover a new voice, a new way of communicating through the power of music. I suppose this brings me to my own job, which is a music therapist as well, because this is what I so believe in myself as a person. And I think the younger, generation here in Derry will find that and are beginning to find that more since, we'll say, 2013. So, and from this has resulted in, over the years, more younger ones getting involved.
And that 2013, you composed music for, you played music out.
Yes,
We had
that's
a
right.
wonderful weekend. That All-Ireland plan, Derry, was so important.
Absolutely, and that has been the beginning of something, very important for the city.
Well, listen, Derry is alive with music. We're going to play it tonight. I know the fiddle and the pipes are getting ready. You have them warmed up. A set of, what are you doing in the show?
It's a set of slip jigs, which we dug out of the collections. So the first one is the Galway jig, which was collected in County Monaghan, I believe, from the playing of Lord Rossmore. Wow. Then the second one is A Kiss in the Shelter, also from the Petrie collection, but I don't think the source was mentioned. And then finally, Open the Door for Three, which is like an older version of a commonly known slip jig in some parts. So,
well, a treat for our audience on the web.
Thank you.
Josie Nugent, County Clare, based in Derry, in the pod. And Brian, wonderful to have you here, a wonderful carrier of the tradition, Brian Stafford. November is the Pipes Month. We'll celebrate it, and it's great to have the pipes and fiddle in Derry. Derry 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you.